Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Grandma's one.
And since we are middle-aged guys, this is one of our random topics that we're going to go out of our way and cover regarding the industry, video games, and everything else. We're going to go ahead and give you guys a very honest perspective on something that's not mentioned a lot, especially when you consider demographics and marketing, statistics, and everything else. Gaming while being middle-aged. Let's just be honest. Your perspective of gaming is going to change as far as being little Johnny and little Susie, where your parents are buying stuff for you to go ahead and game, if they're that type of parent, okay, to jumping into adolescence and teenagehood, where you sit there and your view of the games change, and then going out on your own, even as a young adult, whether or not it be college or moving out of the house, gaming, if that's something that you want to go ahead and keep as part of your life. And then moving on into full-fledged adulthood, living on your own as a young adult, and then even past that into middle age, where we are at, thus the middle-aged guys, where, hey, look, we have our own place to live. We have our own careers, not jobs, careers. Mm-hmm. We have our spouses. Some of us have kids, okay, where it's like we're going out of a way, all the things that we thought were inconceivable as a young, prepubescent, pimply-faced, jacking off to the JCPenney's fucking catalog kid, okay? Yes, I know that's a little bit of an old reference, but guess what? We were around before the internet was in everybody's fucking pocket.
He said JCPenney's and Sears.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Lingerie section, okay, and National Geographic, okay. But let's just put it in perspective. We've been around a very, very long time where the industry has changed a lot. Not only did we see it, fall, but also rise up from the ashes and then become the monster that it is today. It outperforms Hollywood on a regular basis, and it's done so ever since 2001, okay? We have I wouldn't say a unique insight to or view to the industry, but we have a particular view of the industry that a lot of industry people and a lot of reviewers and a lot of, bloggers and stuff like that may not offer you on a regular basis. So what we're going to talk about really is gaming when you're middle-aged, because a lot of things change when you get older. But the hallmark of every geek is that the stuff that you like as a kid, you're not going to sit there and stop liking as an adult, and that holds true for all of us. With that in mind, floor is open, guys. What are your thoughts? Or what off the top of your head, comes to mind when you sit there and think about, gaming as a middle-aged guy?
Well, with me, like you said, we've been around a long time. We've been around where we saw 8 tracks turn into tapes, turning into CDs, turning into MDs, and then eventually turning into nothing. To where
MP3 players and fucking auxiliary ports, and now fucking Bluetooth, wireless, and all that bullshit.
So on that perspective, we've seen VHS, VCDs,
Betamax.
We've seen all this going on, right? So we're lucky. Laserdisc. We're really lucky because we got the first generation of gaming towards the end, because the first generation was, very early 70s, up until the 8th generation now. So we pretty much saw gaming, the entire life of gaming and what it became, this multi-billion, that's a B, dollar industry that it is today. And I just remember, as a child, 2 years old, having just start, playing games, and it's just amazing to see how far we came since then. So we've seen the rise we've seen the crash, and then we've seen the rise, you know, out of the ashes of thanks to Nintendo, who brought us out of the ashes of, you know, the crash. But it was easier for me to sit down and play a video game when I was 8, 10 years old versus now, you know, I'm middle-aged, even though I do have time. But after doing life, you know, requirements all day, you really don't have time to sit down and play a 120-hour RPG or, you know, you're lucky, basically, you're lucky to play a 5-hour game. And I think that's one reason why the mobile games are so successful right now, is because people of our age, male and female, they don't have much time to game no more. You know, there's things going on in their lives, their families, you know, they got all these other things to take care of. And a quick game of Angry Birds or whatever you want to play will satisfy that need to play video games. And, you know, a lot of people don't have time to sit down and, like I said, and play an RPG for that long.
What about you, Theme? What are your thoughts on gaming while being middle-aged?
One thing, okay, all right. There's a couple of things that I'm going to throw into that pot as far as growing up with gaming and gaming while being middle-aged. But I'm going to work my way backwards. Now, having a career and being busy with a whole bunch of other stuff and projects and stuff like that, there are most of the things that I still have here that I still play when I do have the time, when all grown-up shit is taken care of, when I'm not entirely tired or lazy. That I was
Most of it is tired. Most of it is tired. Let's just be honest. Okay, look, as a young kid, as a college fucking student, or as a teenager, when you have time on your hands and you've taken care of your shit, if there's something that you don't get around to, you know, a lot of that can be chalked up to that you just don't want to fucking do it, okay? At this point in time, we have jobs, we have spouses, you know, some of us have kids, and other shit we have to worry about. Some of us even have to fucking take care of our parents, okay? In which case, you know, when it comes to spare time and you don't feel up to it, I don't think lazy always fits into that fucking equation, just to be fair.
Not always.
I'll let you continue on. Go ahead.
Not always.
But lazy does fit in some of the equations.
Sometimes. But most of the time, it is just being tired or exhausted or just packed up with a whole bunch of shit that you have to do as an adult or as a middle-aged adult and so on and so forth. But working my way backwards, there was, of course, there's gaming consoles. There's mobile gaming, phones and stuff like that. But then when I think back, the arcades is really what got me gaming in the first place. Now, I've been playing video games ever since the age of 2. The Atari 2600 brought me into gaming. Then I have an older sister that used to take me to swap meets, shakies. Yes. The fucking top-down cabinets, and even swap meets and malls and stuff like that. And there will be arcades. And she will play all the shit all the time. She will play Miss Pac-Man. She will play Burger Time. She will play Centipede. She will play Mr. Do. She will play those games, and I was very observant. Now, she had a ColecoVision. I had an Atari. And then the Crash. Then the NES. And I don't give a fuck what type of games that you play now, or if you are a fanboy of Sony or Microsoft or whatever, PC Master Race. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You owe your gaming life and existence to Nintendo. Regardless of what you're playing, regardless of what you're into, and so on and so forth. Yes, video games maybe would have risen up in another way, but you owe your gaming life to Nintendo. Hands down, that's it. The NES Zapper. Look at all the peripherals that came out with the NES that they're trying to still integrate now into gaming. Like the power pad and the power glove. They're trying to do things like this or with your feet. Nintendo had that down packed back then. Seriously. Nintendo tried the virtual reality shit first. It was red. It was awful. But again, there was portable gaming before the DS, before even the Game Boy. There was the little electronic things.
Yep,
the little football,
watch.
Yep. The football, the baseball games. I had those before the Game Boy. So gaming.
Hell.
Yeah. And then there are gaming genres that basically makes gaming into a family. Yes, some genres are redheaded stepchilds, and some games are just like, you don't want to touch them. But all of that and more evolves into this fucking billion-dollar industry that you see everywhere. You can't go a lot of places and not see, mention, or even recognize something that has to do with gaming.
Most people can't go any place at all without an access to fucking gaming.
No.
Just be honest. I think my particular perspective on this is rather, I don't want to say it's rather unique, but I think it might be different from somebody who isn't actively part of the industry or in some way attached to it. Because generally speaking, most people who sit there and are fans of games may not end up skirting themselves into the actual industry where they have a deeper look behind the door, where they're working with QA or development or things like that. I'm going to say this right now. My perspective comes from the fact that video games, as long as I can remember, the two things that I liked ever since I was a young kid was titties and video games. I am being completely honest. Okay.
See, growing up in the 80s, there are certain things that kids actually gripped onto.
Yeah.
The 80s toys, the 80s cartoons, which you will most likely hear us talk about from time to time.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a wrestling fan, and most children of the 80s have had a connection to wrestling in one way, shape, form, or another, or at least knew about it when it first went mainstream.
Yeah.
In the 80s, in the rock and wrestling golden age era. Monster movies and kung fu movies. For the most part, when motherfuckers like us grew up, shit.
So you're forgetting things like hide and go seek, freeze.
Oh no, I was getting to that.
Dodgeball.
Yeah, I think those particular things though can sit there, and those kind of things are kind of universal to kids in general.
Yeah.
Up until this new millennial generation where dodgeball and that sort of thing isn't encouraged anymore. Because
no, it's not encouraged. It's not allowed. No.
Yeah, it's not allowed anymore because it teaches ostracism and violence and other and bullying and other sort of things. But this video isn't about that. So let's not even jump on that fucking fucking train of thought.
What I was saying is, growing up with all of that around, and then there was video games too. So all of that made a kid's life complete as being a kid.
Well,
I'm aspect, but with video games, it's all about the escape of reality.
Yeah.
It's all about the fantasy, and it's all about being immersed into it. It's all about you controlling something else that's on the screen that you're trying to complete its mission, even though certain games go on and on and on and on. But video games are made to have some fucking fun and to win.
Yeah, let me just continue on with my thought and everything. Like I said, my particular perspective is maybe a little bit different than most people. like I said, the things that really kind of drove what I wanted out of life. One was very, 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 very base, and I'll admit that. And the other one was, when I was first exposed to video games, when I was first exposed to Pong in 1978, it was one of those things where it just kind of grabbed a hold of me, because I remember that's one of the very few memories of my childhood before like pre-adolescence and stuff like that. I remember at the time being at a cousin's house, and it might have been it was between 1978 and 1980, but what I remember was being able to go out of my way and watch Star Wars, because what a lot of people don't realize is that came out in 1977.
77.
Okay? Yeah. And then watching my cousins play Pong. And of course, my cousins and my older siblings didn't allow me to fucking play Pong with them because there was only 2 fucking paddles, and I was one of the younger kids. It didn't fucking happen that way.
Oh.
And that's, everybody has a story like that. But, as far as like going all the way up into adolescence, into adulthood and everything else, I've stated many times in previous other videos that, my parents weren't big on video games. They went out of their way at one time and they got us an Atari 2600. All right. And, we sat there, we went absolutely head over heels for it. And myself and my younger brother, we actually went ahead and decided to, because my parents, different situations as far as being employed and being away and out of the house, we actually skipped school. And this was all the way back in fucking grade school, to leave there and go home and fucking play like fucking Space Invaders and shit like that. My parents, when they found out about that, they weren't very happy about that. And, my dad, being the old school Filipino ex-military dude that he was, decided to go ahead and smash that thing, in front of us and all of that. But we still got it to work. Yes, we needed fucking needle nose pliers, and we needed to splice things together. But the fucking case was all over the goddamn place. But we were still able to get it to work. Yeah, it was durable. You could run that thing over with a fucking truck, and it would still fucking run. All right, but that just kind of spoke to like the kind of determination as far as this is what we liked. Well, my parents weren't very big on any of that stuff. And, fast forward 20 years, they told me for the longest time, hey, being involved in video games and engrossing yourself in this stuff is not going to get you anyplace. You're going to be a loser all your life if you involve yourself with this shit. Why don't you go ahead and do something else? Lo and behold, when I finally got out of the house and did my own thing, only reason why I picked up my professional skills was because, guess what? I want to learn how to play video games on other things. All right. Ended up working for Nintendo. Moved back to from Washington State. Did QA because that kind of stemmed out of trying to be a tester and stuff like that. Then I ended up working for Activision. And all of the skills and everything else I picked up, it's pretty much kept me viable in my career, for a good, I don't know, actually, for over almost 15 years of my life. I've never wanted to go ahead, and I've never worried about trying to fulfill any of my bills or anything like that. But the whole time, my whole focus is that this is what I like and everything. My problem that I have now as a middle-aged guy, even as somebody who doesn't have kids, I do have a spouse, so I don't fall in that fucking stereotype. Fuck you if you otherwise. All right, is that the older that I get, there are more and more fucking things that I want to play. And even now, as somebody who actually has the money to go out of his way and buy a lot of things that I wasn't able to get back then when I was, in fucking grade school and shit like that, my wish list on Amazon, my shopping and watching list on fucking eBay gets longer and longer every fucking day. And a big part of it is that, as much as I love gaming, I don't have the same amount of time as I used to have as a little kid before I moved out of the house and everything else.
Yeah. That's the sad part. It's like, fuck, you're an adult now, but then your time is like, well, if you want to be a responsible adult,
Yeah, and that's the operative word, responsible adult, you know?
And take care of the shit that you have to take care of. And it's like, fuck. Now that, yes, have my own career, house, and damn, I can't. Damn it, I can't overindulge in gaming like I used to. And I just want to scream fuck every day that it's like, damn, I want to play and I want to be immersed and I want the shit that, but I can't let it take control of life. Not like I used to, because got responsibilities to take care of.
Yep.
And I mean, I will concur with everything that the Reverend just said. Looking around, and it's like, fuck, I still have to play a whole bunch of shit that's in here. I mean, video game systems, there are most people that have gotten rid of their video game systems. No, I mean, I remember when I was in the Navy and I called home, being stationed in Japan, and I was like, Mom, do not throw all that stuff away. My Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, no, do not throw that stuff away. Either send it to me or keep that mess in the storage until I get back. What for? I said, okay, Mom, let's look at it this way. You paid your hard-earned money for a lot of that stuff. I paid my hard-earned money for a lot of that stuff. Why would you jettison it? Why would you get rid of it? It doesn't make any sense. It still works. I still want it. I will still use it.
I mean, I'm in a similar boat where, like I said before, you know, after the Atari 2600, all of the video games and all the video game systems and everything that I own, nobody bought it for me. I think there's maybe one or two titles that my wife got me while she was my girlfriend before we got married. But other than that, everything that I own, I purchased myself. And, you know, that sort of stuff is the type of thing that I will keep a hold of as long as I can, you know. Green Mouse, you're bubbling up there. I know it's right underneath the surface. There's shit that you want to say.
To start off with, you know, you had a girlfriend? I thought all gamers don't have girlfriends.
Okay.
Again, fuck that stereotypical shit. Like I said, the two things that were driving my adolescence was pussy and fucking video games, all right?
I can't add any more than what was already been said by all three of us. I mean, gaming has been a huge part of my life ever since I picked up that first controller, and it probably will be a part of my
Controller or joystick?
Huh?
Controller or joystick?
You know what I mean.
No,
I'm being dead serious.
No, he's being specific here because that dates your experience. It really does.
I know it does. A joystick.
Yeah, I picked up the joystick with one fucking red button on it.
Yep.
3 feet away from the fucking system. Not even. Like, the cord was only this fucking long.
Don't sit that close to the TV. Don't sit that close to the TV. Don't sit that close to the TV.
I just got one.
The system was like by its fucking television.
I just got one thing to say. How many of those fucking controllers or joysticks have you went through?
No, I haven't went through the joystick.
Not through the joysticks.
Story.
Yeah.
Say again?
I haven't went through joysticks. Controllers are a different fucking story.
Yeah.
Even my paddles are like.
I've broken.
Seriously? What did you break a joystick over? Atari games were that hard?
No, it's more of a pissed off.
That's what I'm getting at.
I broke some joysticks before.
What were you pissed at?
I'll just leave it at that. I broke joysticks before.
No, I had to play my Journey Escape.
I played with a joystick before. So I played with a broken joystick before. So yeah, you know, but then again, like I said, my dad was very thorough on the things that he threw against the ground at very, very great force to go ahead and break shit. So
I mean, like I was saying, you know, pretty much gaming will always be a part of my life, no matter how old I get. I'll be 60 years old and still playing da 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 da. You know, it's just just something. It will always be a part of my life. And maybe because
the thing about it is, regardless of what experience that you've had with gaming, good or bad, or middle fingered, whatever, it's still a part of your life as far as saying, okay, this has shaped me somehow.
Well, that's one of the things that kind of kills me, especially now, as far as, you know, and this is not to step off into left field or open an old wound or step on a landmine or anything. But, you know, when people sit there and they say, well, what's the big deal about this? It's only gaming. Motherfucker, it's a $22 billion fucking industry.
Yeah.
All right. It's been part of it's been a mainstay in fucking culture, not just pop culture, for over the last 40 fucking years. Yep. All right. It has a bigger fucking financial footprint than Hollywood. So it's like one of those things where, why would you consider yourself, it's only a fucking video game, it's only fucking video games. Well, you may not fucking be actively part of that fucking industry, but it's a big part of everybody's lives. You know, the difference now as a middle-aged guy over when, you know, when I was willing to go out of my way and do shit where it was like I would lose girlfriends over because I'd rather fucking play super dodgeball over than meet somebody after school and shit like that. Yes, that's a real life story, and maybe one time or another, maybe sometime that'll come out on video. But the truth of the matter is, you know, the one thing that, like the team said, that I get to that kind of kills me is that, God, I don't have enough time to deal with all of this stuff, you know, or to play all this stuff. Because I will be honest, okay, just a few years back, I started taking inventory. And I even bought myself a fucking barcode scanner to go ahead and scan all the UPC symbols on all the games that I have, right? And set up an Excel spreadsheet and all of that shit. I stopped counting at around 1,300 titles, and that was years ago. And I've added to the pile since. And I've come to the conclusion that, you know, if push came to shove, and I was no longer able to buy any more video games, and if somebody sat there and said, "Hey, look, Reverend, we'll pay you to play video games for full time for the next decade," I would probably be able to sit there and say, I think I've got that covered. Okay. You know, because when you have all of this adult shit to deal with and all of this real life stuff to deal with, this is the one luxury that you don't have as an adult that you have as a kid. Like, the only thing that I miss from, you know, being a teenager, because the truth of the matter is I hated fucking high school. I you know, even now, the thought of living with my parents, you know, that thought is enough for me to sit there and, you know, ask myself, where is my gun? Is my mouth wide enough to go ahead and stick my barrel in it and everything else? You know, is this going to cause me to kill myself, or am I going to kill other people along the way because I'm being driven crazy by my parents? You know, that's my whole thing, is that the only thing I miss from being in that particular situation is, okay, I didn't have to worry about bills, and because of that, I had time to fucking game.
You had time, right?
Yeah. You know, I think everybody here can fucking relate to that, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. You know,
it's funny because as active as I was back in the day, being athletic and going out and playing sports and just being outgoing.
Yeah.
I still had time to play games. A rainy day, you best believe that motherfuckers like me were playing games. I mean, if homework was done, or before I did my homework, I was playing fucking video games. It becomes, when games are so great that you turn that bitch on before you go to school. I've done that.
or if games are so great that you leave your machine on overnight so you can pick up.
Oh no, some games you had no other option.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you couldn't fucking save them otherwise.
Rygar.
Oh no. That's another subject for another day. No. Fuck that game.
Ghosts and Goblins?
No.
Fuck that game.
Hey, I've beaten that.
Yep.
Kudos to you, but fuck that game.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I couldn't imagine beating that shit in the arcade.
I'd be in debt.
Hey, I've beaten Strider in the arcade, and that almost put me in a very. I almost punched that fucking screen when I died by going up. I was that pissed. It was my last life, and all I heard was and it's game over on the screen. I'm like, I went this way and I fucking died. I had a crowd of people behind me too. And they didn't laugh at me, but I knew that they fucking wanted to. But I would have swung on all of them if they would have fucking laughed at me.
But see,
I was that upset.
One thing that we forgot to mention also is the, especially in the 80s, the social aspect of gaming, especially in the arcades.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, the arcades is a special thing that a lot of people can't go ahead and relate to, because the thing is that, you know, the funny thing about like all these little 13-year-olds who talk a lot of shit and call you gay over fucking Xbox Live and shit like that, these little shits would not do that in the arcade. You don't do that when you know the motherfucker that you're talking shit to is close enough to backhand the fuck out of you.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, that's just something that doesn't happen, you know. And we've seen a lot of things change as far as the industry goes. I mean, we've seen the rise and fall of the arcades, the changing of the major first party players, the changing of major media from cartridge to optical disc, and it's going back to cartridge again. Okay.
I'm going to say something that we had a private conversation about.
Okay.
Specifically, Reverend. Okay. Any of you that is underneath the age of 20 that may be watching this video. Now, you millennials out there that have never been to a video game arcade do not understand death and inserting quarters over and over and over again.
Dude, you got quarters? No, fuck. No, dude, it's got 10 seconds. No, fuck. No, dude, fucking run over there.
Wait. Imagine every 3 deaths of Call of Duty, Halo, or whatever, and you have to give up a quarter.
Yeah,
that's what arcades were like. It was. You had maybe 3 to 5 lives, maybe.
When we were playing the House of Dead.
Oh.
And we had a stack of quarters.
No, we didn't have quarters. We had 100.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Which is $1.
We had dollars. We had dollars sitting there on the console, and then we had one of our friends go back running to get more. I'm just saying. Hey,
we spent a fortune that night, and it was well worth it because people were mesmerized by the Wheel of Fate on House of Dead 3.
Look, we spent $30.
Yeah, but what I was saying, look, I want to see this. And Reverend, you've done this as a joke. I want to see this. I want to see someone playing a mobile game and someone come up behind them with a quarter and stack it on top of it, talking about, I got mint.
You know, like I said, the one thing that I'm looking forward to is that I am going to bust out laughing. I'm actually surprised I haven't done this myself. Watching somebody sit there play a fucking game on their cell phone and coming up and saying, putting a quarter on their phone, I got next.
Oh God, I just had a horrible thought. What if they have the credit card slots for these to insert credits?
You've been to Dave and Buster's, right?
Yes.
That's pretty much the goal.
Yes, what I'm talking about for this.
I'm just saying. The reason why we can go on in length about this is because we have, like I said, I'm not going to be so vain, or I'm not going to have the audacity to sit there and say we have a unique perspective on this. But the truth of the matter is that when you go out of your life,
yes, we do. Look, we've been around for 30 years. We've been around for over the gaming industry. We saw the beginning of the gaming industry to now. So yes, we have a unique.
But you see, we've gone off base because look. The reason why we can't game now, and it's just like fuck, man.
Well, the problem is that real life gets in the way.
Yeah,
for some people.
Yeah, or unless you're able to sit there and find a way where it's like, hey, look, you're going to pay me to play video games as a job.
Okay, fine.
Hey, guess what? As a tester, that doesn't happen. I can tell you that from experience. All right, but if you go ahead and you have yourself a Twitch channel or something, or you end up somebody like PewDiePie or something like that who does that as a job, maybe that's your thing, or Markiplier, or any of the really, really big fucking YouTube guys.
Yeah, but would you play games that absolutely suck?
But even then, even past that, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that for every 1 hour of YouTube content, they probably spend 8 hours of building raw material and editing.
That's what I mean.
And put that out in front of everybody. So that is very much a full-time job. I mean,
okay, that's like gaming now. I figure like this. There's no excuse for games that suck this day and age. Wait. Why is the sucky age still here?
The funny thing is that we can talk about that in length, and considering we only have a minute left, that's probably going to have to be reserved for another video.
Okay.
But on this particular video, folks, especially if you've spent the last almost 40 minutes to go ahead and reach to this point in time, this is what gaming is like as a middle-aged guy. We're not going to glamorize it. This is just the raw truth of it, And whether or not you like it or not, in due time, you're going to see what type of bullshit it is. We're the middle-aged guys. We bullshit about nothing, and we're cutting the bullshit here. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
And this is just part one of this. We're going to come back to this because we have a lot to say about gaming in general, especially gaming now. Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Credits.
What's funny is that there are nickel arcades out there, but if you went ahead and took that to the equivalent now, those nickel arcades would probably be like 75 fucking cents now. Isn't that sad?
Ridiculous.
Just saying.
Every generation has their story.